Hey there, and welcome to our June 2026 edition of Quick Kit. It's been a pretty busy month as Cinegear Expo has been and gone. Links to everything we mentioned will be down in the description below. Let's get into it. DZO have kindly sent us an early set of their Arles Zooms, but they are very early samples, so we can't review them just yet, but we can share some creative footage that we've shot with them so far. These are a really good size and weight given their range, full frame coverage, and consistent t2.6 aperture. They look really promising and we can't wait to show you more with them. If you're interested in these, drop us an email via demo@cvp.com. They also announced their Octopus 2 lens adapters. These are roughly half the weight than their predecessors and will be available in E, Z, L and RF mounts. Mid49 have been showing off a couple of new products, but by far the most exciting has to be their upcoming FX6 XLR module, which uses the port for the handle on the top of the camera and gives you two full-size XLR ports. The FX6 is notorious for only having audio inputs on the XLR handle, so as soon as you take that off, you have no option for recording audio. This is one of the biggest complaints people have had about the FX6 across the 5 years it's been used, and it's great to finally see a solution like this. The version they had at Cinegear is an early proof of concept prototype to show that it actually works, so the final production unit will be very different in design. It will be flush to the body and shaped like the existing handle to make it compatible with as many top plates as possible. It should be available towards mid to late summer, and I'm sure if it's priced right, it's going to be very popular with FX6 owner operators. One of the most interesting looking launches at Cinegear this year had to be the Cinelux Project 16. Cinelux cinema tools have been making unique products for cinema workflows for a few years now, including their LuxCon contrast control filter and their Spinilux, which looks really nice. But the Project 16 is a really unique looking camera that can shoot both 16mm film and digital at the same time. The design ethos behind this camera is that it is a film camera designed for the modern set, which I think is great as film cameras have gotten incredibly expensive and do have their challenges when being used on a modern set. It is touted to capture a synced digital file alongside 16mm film, which is going to be amazing for a few different reasons. First of all, monitoring is going to be excellent as you'll be able to get a feed out from the sensor directly. Cinelux are going to be developing a range of different film simulations as well, so you can not only monitor the digital feed as closely to your film stock you're using, but also record your digital file using the simulation as well. Capturing a high quality digital file will be great for proxies or dailies, and even as a backup. This will really speed up post workflows as you will have the digital files so an edit can be started before receiving your film scans. Cinelux are using an off-the-shelf Sony 4/3" sensor that has been used in other available cameras, but are cropping it to match the size of Super 16. It can record 3K in a mix of formats including ProRes, LuxRAW and Cinema DNG to either an internal SSD or CF Express Type B card. Cinelux have been developing this beast for 2.5 years, and personally I think it's great seeing something so refreshing, innovative and unique when it comes to cameras. They are aiming to price it just under $40,000 for a basic kit, which I think is actually quite reasonable given its feature set and the price of other 16mm film cameras now. It should be available next year and I'm really excited to check this one out in person. Some of the largest announcements this year at Cinegear all revolve around 65mm imaging. This includes a new camera and a bunch of lenses. I think the biggest thing though to be announced has to be Sony's RIALTO 65, and honestly I'm incredibly excited for this. The RIALTO 65 is a new sensor block and RIALTO system that can be used with the existing VENICE 2 cameras. I think the branding of RIALTO is a bit confusing as you can use either the new RIALTO system with the 65mm sensor block or insert the new sensor block directly into the body, just as you can with the other two VENICE sensors. Sony are referring to these two modes as Studio and Extension mode. The sensor Sony has used for the RIALTO 65 is a massive 9.6K sensor with an approximate size of 53.75 by 35.83mm, giving it a diagonal size of 64.6mm. That's absolutely massive, and closer to the size of the sensors used inside of medium format stills cameras from the likes of Phase 1 and Hasselblad. I'm super excited to learn more about this new camera system and get some time shooting with it. There's no price for it just yet, but as it's going to be a separate purchase to the VENICE 2 body, it's going to be interesting to see how much it costs. But certainly, I think it's going to be aimed squarely at rental houses. If you want to learn about this in more detail, check out the video that we released about it earlier this month. With the announcement of the RIALTO 65, Sony also announced version 5 firmware for the VENICE 2, This update includes a new LUT preset called Signature. This is a VENICE 2 specific LUT designed to give a better on-set monitoring experience with some nice design ethos behind it. It will also enable the ability to output DCI 4K at 47.95p via a single 12G SDI output. And they are improving some of the on-screen indicators, such as the moire alert. Sony haven't stated a date when this will be available just yet. Their roadmap just states July 2026 or later. I'm sure there will also be a new firmware that will enable the RIALTO 65 to work with existing VENICE 2s as well, but that will come when they start shipping next year. Sony also announced the sRG AS10 and sRG XS10 PTZ cameras. These are both 4K 60p PTZ cameras that use Sony's Starvis sensors. The AS10 is the more fully featured one with auto framing and ball sports tracking, whereas the XS10 is the simpler base model. An absolute shedload of Cine lenses have been announced, and a good chunk of them have been designed to cover 65mm sensor cameras, which isn't surprising given the introduction of Sony's new camera. Angenieux have announced their EZ65 series. This builds on their existing EZ lenses but offers them with an expanded 60mm image circle to cover the growing range of 65mm format cameras. At launch, 2 lenses will be available: the EZ2 65 27-72mm t3.6 and the EZ3 65 82-300mm t4.2 to 5.4, both of which share image characteristics with the existing EZ lenses, feature dual scales, and will only be available in LPL mount. The EZ lenses have become incredibly popular across a wide range of productions for their great image and versatile ranges. The EZ2 is priced at just over £17,000, and the EZ3 comes in at just over £21,400, and they're available to pre-order now on our website. Zeiss have fully released their Panoptes 65 series of large format cinema lenses and had them on show as well. These are inspired by Zeiss's Supremes, but each lens has been designed specifically for covering 65mm format cameras. They all have a 59.9mm image circle, which will cover loads of cameras, but maybe not the new Sony. There will be 10 focal lengths in the set, all of which have a maximum aperture of t2.2, and they are priced at around £19,000 per lens. Zeiss have also announced their new Horizon series of 2x anamorphic lenses. These are a pretty unique looking set of lenses that look a little different to anything Zeiss, or really many other lens manufacturers have made previously. They have motors built in for lens control, which makes them look incredibly futuristic. This focus system actually uses a gimbal to move the elements back and forth, which should make it much faster to focus than a regular Cine lens, with a motor attached. They are compatible with either Arri or Preston lens control systems, which will most likely be what people are using with this type of lens. They have screens on both sides for control and lens information, which look really nice and large and well thought out. There are currently 7 lenses in the set ranging from 35 up to 200mm, all of which are t2.3 apart from the 200mm which is t2.9. They have been designed to have a pretty clean neutral look as standard, but their look will be customizable via a rear element customization system. It's definitely a bold step, but I think it could be great for a few reasons. As I've said, speed of focusing with LiDAR autofocus systems should be good. They should be easy to set up as they won't require mounting any motors or calibrating lenses. And while they aren't small lenses, they will have a reduced footprint versus an equivalent size lens with motors. They are going to be pricey, but they are squarely aimed at high-end productions, so these will be for rental houses. I'm interested to check these and the Panoptes out to see how they perform, as I loved Zeiss's other new set of lenses they released this year, the Atmas. At IBC in 2025, Atlas showed off an early prototype of their Kaizen 1.5x anamorphic lens, designed for 65mm cameras. And since then they've been releasing more information about them and showing them off more and more. Well, they are finally available to pre-order now as a 5-lens set. This consists of a 35, 40, 50, 75 and 100mm, which will all be t2.6, and will cover sensors roughly 44 by 33mm in size. They look like they produce some really interesting anamorphic imagery, and they're available to pre-order now for £66,000 for the 5-lens set. If you want to check these or any other lenses out, drop demo@cvp.com an email and pop into one of our beautiful showrooms. Panavision announced their new Primo 65 series of primes. These are essentially 65mm versions of their 35mm format Primo series of primes, which are revered worldwide for their beautiful image. There are going to be 12 lenses in the set ranging from 21 through to 225mm, with all of them being T2 apart from the 225mm, which is t2.5. I'm sure these will get used on a feature film very soon with one of the many 65mm cameras available now. Next, Hawk teased their Taka series of spherical primes. These have an image circle of 66mm, so will be perfect paired with the new RIALTO 65. The range will consist of 10 focal lengths, but other than that, there's not much information out there about them just yet. Zhongyi has shown their new T1 Cine series at Cinegear. These are a set of 3 cinema primes consisting of a 35, 50 and 75mm, all with a crazy T1 maximum aperture and full frame coverage. These look really interesting as they are PL mount, and there isn't too many affordable options for full frame T1 cinema primes like these. But they do look pretty large. However, that's not too surprising. We should be getting a set of these into tests very soon, so let us know if you want us to review them in the comments below. We have just launched our biggest auction yet, and it features the complete inventory of Electrofilm and TV rental houses. That means there are a bunch of cameras, lenses, lighting, grip, audio, monitoring, and accessories from brands such as Arri, Sony, Canon, Aperture, and loads more. Bidding starts from the 29th of June, so if you want to grab yourself a bargain, head over to our website. Link is in the description or on screen now. Red have released firmware version 2.2.4 for their V-Raptor series of cameras and the Komodo X. This is actually a similar update to the 2.2 beta, which we created a video about earlier this year. But it's now a full firmware release. This includes faster boot up speed, reduced power consumption, a new ND iris tracking mode for depth of field pulls, improved high ISO ProRes performance, and even a tweak to Phantom Track that we asked Red to implement, which should make the Raptor X an even better camera for virtual production. The firmware is available to download now on Red's site, link to which is in the description. Blackmagic have released camera update 10.2 for the PYXIS 6K, and this brings phase detect autofocus to it. This was initially launched in a beta firmware back in March, so it's great to see it finally hit a full release. It's good that Blackmagic are adding this system to their cameras, especially the PYXIS 6K, which is such a great video focus camera for its price. I really hope we see autofocus come to their 12K cameras as well. Earlier this month, we launched Warranty Plus. This is our new extended warranty program designed to help customers protect their kit long after the original manufacturer's warranty has expired. We are offering up to 4 additional years of warranty on a range of products with our fantastic engineering team and authorized service partners conducting any repairs. It's available online or via your account manager, so if you want to learn more, head over to our website. Megadap have teased a new Cine version of their ETZ21 Z to E mount adapter. This new adapter has an active E mount which will support larger lenses better than the previous version. This improvement is from a direct bit of feedback Megadap received about larger lenses losing connection with the previous adapter. It's also been redesigned to work with the locking Z mounts found on the Red Komodo X and Raptor cameras. The last version would clash with the locking tab and could even scratch the mount, which was really annoying. We should have pricing and availability soon, so keep an eye on our website if this interests you. Blazar announced their new Sentinel 35 to 60mm t2.2 to t2.8 1.33 times anamorphic zoom. It's been designed to cover full frame sensors and will be available in Sony E, Canon RF and Leica L mount. It looks pretty compact and weighs roughly 970 grams, which means it should pair well with compact mirrorless video cameras like the Sony FX cameras, Nikon ZR and Panasonic S series. It has a 16 blade iris, however unlike the Mantis which used an elliptical iris, the Sentinel's aperture is actually round. It will have an amber flare as standard and a close focus of roughly 2.7 feet or 83 centimeters. Anamorphic zooms are pretty rare to find, and affordable ones even more so. I'm intrigued to see how this looks, but it could be an interesting option for some. The Sentinel is available to pre-order now for just over £999. Angenieux Optics announced a bunch of new lenses. This included a 21mm t1.9 in their really lovely adjustable Petzl series of lenses, the 35 to 140mm Statera zoom, and a new series of lenses based around the Olympus Pen F lenses. These will look really nice, and Angenieux Optics have been making some really unique lenses for a while now. However, the ones I'm most excited to check out that they recently announced are their new H1 series of primes. The H1 primes are a new set of mirrorless mount cinema primes, and they're trying to achieve quite a similar thing to the Eyeglass Air lenses. So modern houses with mirrorless mounts that you can swap, but vintage character. It looks like there are 10 lenses in the set currently, but there's not much info out about them just yet. But Angenieux Optics do a really good job of creating these lenses, so I'm really excited to check these out in person soon. The Stereographer Theta low angle is a new tool designed for extreme low angle shooting with larger cinema camera packages. This is a system that uses a high quality mirror to allow the camera's entrance pupil to be essentially positioned just above the ground, while the main camera rig is in a more regular position. It's a system designed for very specific setups that looks really well thought out for higher end production use. Another mirror system that I saw, but it's a little bit different, is the Eclat Stemirax in-camera effects system. This is a prism combined with mirrors and very precise control to enable unique image layering effects in camera. Everything is marked and controlled, which means you should be able to repeat effects, which is great as well. It can be rotated and adjusted and looks like a really unique tool for cinematographers wanting to capture unique in-camera effects. Teradek announced the Bolt Mobile. This is a Bolt receiver that has been designed to be used with USB-C devices like an iPhone or iPad. This works with both Bolt 4K and Bolt 6, but means essentially you can get a zero delay feed into a low-cost device using Teradek's app. I can see this being useful for a range of configurations and uses. There will be both a 750 and 1000 version of these, and they should be available later this year. Cartoni have announced their new camera movement system, the HyperRoll. And essentially this system allows you to connect high quality wheels onto your camera package, which could be a phone, small mirrorless camera, or even a medium-sized cinema camera. The goal is to provide smooth shots across a range of different productions that would require a more DIY solution or something potentially larger scale to achieve. These wheels are mounted via NATO rail that you can adjust for different heights and angles. It looks like it could be pretty versatile and is available to order now for £757 or €885. More information has been released about the upcoming Kinefinity VISTA, which caused a pretty big stir at NAB earlier this year. It's a new compact 6K camera priced at just under £2,400. It's got some pretty stiff competition at that price point, but does offer some interesting features, such as the ability to record 6K 3x2 OpenGate, a dual native ISO of 800 and 5120, and ProRes and H.265 recording options. It's incredibly small and lightweight given what's crammed inside, and the rear LCD is a nice size. But there is no autofocus, no sensor stabilization, and no internal ND, unless you use one of Kinefinity's END, PL, or EF mounts. This makes it a camera designed more for cinema-style workflows. How do you think it stacks up compared to the other cameras at its price? Let us know down in the comments. Right, let's get into our quick-fire honourable mentions. Links to details about these are in the description. 7 Artisans released the Dream Cine Primes, an affordable set of 3 full-frame T1.5 manual Cine Primes. Axiom released the Como 2, their new wireless intercom headset system. Adobe and Nvidia announced a partnership to re-architect Premiere and Photoshopped around Nvidia's new RTX Spark superchip. Arri announced Luca, their new plug-in for Unreal Engine that brings their lights and camera tools into virtual environments. Bright Tangerine released the Titan Arm 2, a titanium reinforced upgrade to their popular monitor arm that increases the payload capacity from 5 to 8 kilograms. Cream Source announced the Vortex 2 and Vortex 2 Soft, 2 compact 160-watt IP65 rated LED fixtures. ErgoRig released the ErgoRig 2, an updated version of their vest-based camera support system. This new version has improved in a range of ways to make it better to operate and adjust. Filmsticks released the Action, an affordable one-piece clapperboard. Godox released the LC500R Air and the LR150 Air modular lights. Holyland announced the Astra P1. Kipon announced new PL variable ND adapters for Sony E and Nikon Z mount, which will also work with their focal reducers, which is really cool. Leica announced their new SL3P mirrorless camera and 2 new lenses. Metabones announced new firmware upgrades for their Mark II MFT adapters that improves phase detect autofocus performance. Mutiny released their Cage ecosystem for the Nikon ZR. Pelican announced a new series of Protector 2.0 cases, which look like a nice update. Profoto released a range of new softboxes. Strada launched Strada Connect, their peer-to-peer collaboration platform. SMOHD announced the OLED 16, a 16-inch UHD 4K OLED production monitor with a 1.5 million to 1 contrast ratio and 4 12G SDI in and out ports. Smorig announced a phone-mounted portable SSD and showed a 25-litre camera backpack, which should be coming out soon. Tamron announced Nikon Z and Canon RF versions of their 17 to 70mm f2.8 APS-C lens. TLS teased their rehoused Nikon AI or AIS cinema lens series, which will consist of 11 lenses with full frame plus coverage. And lastly, Viltrox announced the DC550 Pro 2, which is a compact 5.5-inch 1400 nit touchscreen monitor with direct camera control. If you found this helpful, please make sure you subscribe ready for next month's quick kit, and let us know what kit you've picked up this month in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching.